We are just about ready to start. So if you will sit back and relax for just a couple more minutes, we're still waiting for just a few people who are finishing their lunch, and we will get started. Welcome, everyone, to the celebration of 42 years of ministry and the retirement of Dr. Jack Mannschreck, or as he is better known to his congregation as Pastor Jack. My name is Pam Coleman-Gay.
My name is Mike Robeson. We will be your guides through this program this afternoon. We invite you to listen to the melodious sounds of Kathy Scafari and Joyce Merle as we begin our journey through Pastor Jack's ministry. Thank you, ladies. That was gorgeous. As you can see, we have not listed the names of the speakers as we wanted them to be a surprise to Pastor Jack. The first speaker is well known to Pastor Jack. Welcome his son, Jonathan.
Check, check. This will be fast. It has to be because I'm doing battle with my eyes today. There's really only one thing to say, and it's thank you, Central. We can really feel the love. And thank you, OUMC and BBUMC. I wasn't around for Grosse Pointe, but there's a common theme, the love. And we can feel it. And I just want to say thank you for it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. We know that was difficult for you to come up and share about your dad, but we're glad that you did. Pastor Jack has a special place in his heart for youth. We again ask the youth of Central and anyone who has been a youth led by Pastor Jack, no matter how old you are, to please come up here and join us as our youth present Jack with a gift. Come on forward.
It's not on. Hello? Oh, now it's on. Okay. All right. So the youth of Central United Methodist Church have created a poster board for Jack, for all of you, and for Jack, of course. And you can see a bunch of pictures that we've gathered for Jack of different events we've done. We also got him a $200 gift card so that he can spend it on whatever he wants. Hopefully a dinner for Ruth. Joel, can you hold this side right here? Thank you. So in here you can see we have Happy Retirement. We have signatures from many of our youth now and former youth. We also have a few signatures from people from his other churches that he has attended, showing the impact that he's had on many, many youth around the state of Michigan. Over here we have his confirmation students from the past few years, almost 10 years. We have the 2019 class, the 2021 class, the 2022 class, 2023 class, and 2024 class. We just wanted to make this as a thank you to Jack, and we wanted to honor him in that way. Delana is going to share with you a verse that we have decided to share with you today.
His Lord said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord."
Thank you, youth. It is a blessing to see just how Jack has influenced the lives of and touched lives of people who are on their lifelong faith journey. I actually practiced that line. Our next stop on this journey is the first church that Pastor Jack served. This is Grosse Pointe United Methodist Church. We welcome Heidi and Charlie Van Bassler, also known as the musical duo of the Moving Vans. Please come forward and share some of your memories.
Good afternoon. I am Heidi and Charlie. Heidi assigned me her part, so I get 10 minutes now, right? 5 for me and 5 for... No. All right, so Jack, straight out of seminary, came to learn from us how to do ministry. 42 years ago, it's hard to believe, but when I was asked to do this and told, You get 5 minutes. My first thought was, 5 minutes? Jack can't even leave a phone message in 5 minutes. So I can't tell you how many phone messages we had that the answering machine stopped and he'd call back. Yeah, so what I was trying to say, and I don't think I saved any of them, so I have no evidence. We do bring greetings, though, from David and Sarah Erdley. They said they fondly remember your U2 tribute band coming up to the Frankenmuth Church and thought it was awesome. So they wish you the best, and Bob and Jeneth Wright send their blessings as well. So as I said, 42 years ago we met. Jack and I both had hair. And our son was about to be born. Now, if you're sitting at our table at lunch, you may have heard part of this story, but Jack and Ruth were dating on the sly. Their dates were babysitting for our son, so nobody knew what was going on. And when their engagement was announced, it was, what? I didn't know you were dating. It was fun. So we got to know Jack very well because he was on the 8-year plan with us. Turns out, we thought that was a long time, but it turns out that's a short term for him. He seems to last places really well. But we did get to work with him. We were working with the youth at the time. So I will say our youth would have signed that card had they been here, and we'll get you some signatures in the coming weeks. But as I said, we got to know him well, whether through working with the youth, rushing downtown to rescue people whose cars weren't working, or just regular socializing. So as I said, we were leading MYF back then. His focus was mostly on youth. It sounds like that has been a common theme through his whole ministry. But the cool thing was, even though he was supposed to be the youth pastor, he also visited everybody. I heard numerous stories about, oh, Jack came by and we played cards for a long time from the older members of they weren't gambling. They were playing cards, but they were not gambling. That was great. We had wonderful times with the youth, lock-ins and retreats and parties. I guess, let me say, we were having probably a Christmas party at Jack's house. And we had this wonderful Bible trivia game. And we're going through it, and somebody said, I don't believe that's right. Get the Bible, let's look it up. Jack said, I don't have a Bible here. Yeah, all my Bibles are in my office at the church. So I know he has rectified that immediately. But in addition to those lock-ins and retreats, we used to do ski trips occasionally. We're on a ski trip up, I forget where. I'll pretend it was Traverse City. It probably wasn't. But we're up there, and we got a call. Senior pastor Bob Boley had a heart attack and needed Jack to come back to preach. Well, he's talking to Bob on the phone, and he said, well, Jack, just pull out one of your old sermons. And Jack said, I just started. I don't have any old sermons. I don't know what he did because the rest of us stayed up and had the ski trip. But that led to one of Jack's big influences on me, as it turns out, is he said, well, Charlie, you've preached before. You just lead worship while I'm back down in Grosse Pointe. And yes, I had preached before as a senior in high school once. But I said, yes, I have. And so now I am sort of an unofficial substitute preacher. So that's kind of fun. And it's all Jack's fault. So I think that's a wonderful thing. We used to do sunrise services every Easter. The youth would lead that. And when it came to Jack's last year with us, he knew he was moving on to Oxford. And he said, until then, I had said, Jack, you get to come to worship. You don't need to plan it and run it and all that stuff. Well, this was going to be his last one. He said, Charlie, I really want to write this service. Okay, and so it was a wonderful Christmas-based Easter service, and the kids had a great time. It was wonderful. But I'm so pleased with all the music that's going on here, because that was a big part of our relationship back at Grosse Pointe as well. We had gospel fests. Jack sang and played. One of my favorite memories is Jack and Alex Molmeyer and I were the entire band for putting on the children's musical Cool in the Furnace. Wonderful thing. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego cast into the fiery furnace. We had piano and keyboards and organ and guitar, and it was so much fun for us, and I think the kids liked it too. But it's so great to see all the music still a big part. And I don't know, how could you get up and sing during that service? Why weren't you totally verklempt? That was great. As you know, several people have mentioned that, oh, you're the ones who come here and sing here, right? Yeah, and I'm just saying, I don't know what Jack's retirement's going to do to our summer tour plans, because we always go to whatever church he's serving at, and so now our summer's open if anyone's looking for somebody. But just to kind of close out, since I know I'm probably running late, we do look forward to finding out what this next phase of your ministry will be, Jack and Ruth both. As I looked back at all the things I was going to talk about, I thought, what are the common themes that were there? And so running through all these seasons of ministries for Jack and Ruth, both of them found and shared grace, peace, and joy. And what better legacy can you leave? And may that legacy of grace, peace, and joy continue for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Those are some great stories. Pastor Jack loves music of all genres. This time, we focus our attention on another talented duet. We are blessed to present Jennifer Booten and Eric Johnson.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you all here today. I'm Eric Johnson. I'm the new organist here at Central Church, and it has been such a blessing to get to know Jack and Ruth, just stellar people. It's been my distinct privilege to be able to work with Pastor Jack just for these past 5 months, and to be able to, in a small way, put forth some music, which I know Jack and Ruth both love, as a tribute and a fond farewell. So this is Jennifer Booten, and she has graciously offered her wonderful violin skills. And so we're going to play a piece called Ashokan Farewell. Her and I thought this piece would be very fitting to play as we join with all of you to wish Pastor Jack and Ruth a very blessed and happy retirement. I just wanted to take just a minute to give you the origin of Ashokan Farewell. These are the words of the composer, J. Unger. Ashokan is the name of a camp in New York's Catskill Mountains, where I and my wife, Molly Mason, run music and dance programs for adults each summer. The name is said to be a local American Indian word meaning a place to fish. In 1982, shortly after camp had closed for the season, I was feeling melancholy. I missed the music, the dancing, and especially the people and the special way of life that had evolved at camp. Picking up my fiddle, I began to compose a lament, and by the time the piece had come together, I was in tears. It went unnamed until Molly suggested Ashokan Farewell. And in 1983, our band Fiddle Fever recorded Ashokan Farewell on our album Waltz of the Wind. Ken Burns heard it, and he got in touch with me about using it as the theme for his documentary, The Civil War, on PBS, which is where you may have heard it before. So with that, we wish Pastor Jack and Ruth an Ashokan farewell as they set sail up north on that pontoon of theirs and enjoy beautiful days and peaceful nights. All the best to you both. May God bless you and keep you.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer and Eric. Our path continues as we hear from another guest speaker that is close to Pastor Jack, his son, Jeremiah. Just a reminder, Jeremiah, there is a 5-minute limit on remarks. A little birdie told us that you are very much like your father and like to share.
You can't invite Jack's kid who became a pastor and give him a 5-minute limit. You know, when I heard my dad was retiring, which I genuinely wasn't sure would ever happen, but when I heard, I wondered what I would say in this moment. If I had a chance to brag on my dad, which stories do I tell? Do I tell the embarrassing ones? Like the things he did in ministry and early on that are probably frowned upon in the modern world? Or the time in Oxford where he left his microphone on and had to go pee after service? The whole sanctuary got to listen to that. Or do I tell the sweet stories about how in one of his churches he had a pulpit a lot like this, and when my sister was little, she used to have separation anxiety, so she would hide inside the pulpit and reach out and grab Dad's leg when she needed reassurance? Do I tell the story about how early in his ministry, when he was doing a lot more youth group, they would call him PJ? That was the nickname, PJ. Or do I mention the fact that he hated that nickname and forbid us from using it at home? But he never got the kids to stop using it because I don't think he ever told them he didn't like it, because he really loved those kids and he didn't mind it so much coming from them. But before I get into my dad and how he was a great success as a pastor, I want to give a shout out to my mom. A lot of people assume that because of my dad and his role, that my faith comes from my dad. But the truth is, I got my personality from my dad. I got a lot of my mannerisms and how I talk from my dad. But I got my faith from my mom. You need that person in your life, not just the guy up front telling you about the truth, but the person sitting next to you saying that truth matters. That pillar matters. Every pastor in the room knows that this is true. We are not, could not be successes without our significantly better half. Yeah. But how do you define success in the life of a pastor? Is it defined by the size of his church, by how many souls he saved? Is it defined by the fancy titles he's had, the boards that he sat on, the accolades of the institution? Is it the paychecks? Is that what makes a pastor successful? Genuinely, as a pastor myself, with God willing, another couple decades in front of me, I angsted over this question. Because I have heard stories of pastors in great big churches who have fallen into scandal and moral failure. I have seen the same for pastors who have fancy titles, or the best-selling book deals and all the trappings of success the world could ever come up with. You can write a lot of books and make a lot of money and entertain a very big crowd and still be a failure. Those things are not what makes a man or a woman successful. So what makes a pastor successful? The mission statement of the United Methodist Church is to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. So probably the definition of success has something to do with that whole disciple thing. And so I looked at Jesus' definition of a disciple, John 13, verse 34 and 35, and it says, "A new command I give to you, love one another. As I have loved you, you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. If you have faithfully loved as Jesus teaches us to love, then your ministry was a success." And so then I go back through the Rolodex of churches. He started out in Grosse Pointe, where he met my mom. Technically, I was born in Grosse Pointe, and we moved when I was 3, so I don't remember very much of it, except all the strangers coming up to me throughout my life, informing me that they used to change my diaper. In Grosse Pointe, they loved so well that even after we moved away, we kept going back to Grosse Pointe for 4th of July parties, and people from Grosse Pointe, like Heidi and Charlie, kept coming up to visit in Oxford. I remember, the Van Baselers and that whole thing on the front lawn of his next church. I can't tell you much about the state of that church. I have no idea if it was a successful church or what the average attendance was. We would move up to Oxford a few years later, and I remember that. Those were my elementary and middle school years. We did 10 years in Oxford, and those are my youngest memories. And again, I don't remember much about that church, the attendance or the state of the finances. I remember building a bell tower or putting in an elevator or something at some point, so we must have been doing okay as a church. But I can't tell you the statistics, but I can tell you what it was like to be a child in that church. I remember the half dozen extra grandmas that came pre-installed with the nursery. I remember getting into trouble for breaking the nursery toys, for stuffing bulletins every Sunday morning. I remember the Logos program every Wednesday night. I remember winter retreats at whatever that place was called, and singing Pass It On while we all got in a big circle and held hands. My dad loved well in Grosse Pointe. My dad loved well in Oxford. After 10 years in Oxford, we moved to Troy. Now, I was a little older for this season. For me, this is high school and college. That's when we were in Troy, and I still couldn't tell you the attendance statistics or the financial blueprints. I remember those numbers being on the back of the bulletin, but they've just completely fallen out of my mind, probably because they have just nothing to do with the actual definition of success. I can't tell you what the statistics were, but I can tell you what it felt like to be loved as a teenager in that church. Which I would say, if you can find a church that knows how to love teenagers, you've found a gift. I remember Camp Kinnawind and all the mission trips that we would take. I remember raising money for a new organ. We did this thing where you could sponsor a key. They had a big map of the organ, and you could pick a key, and it was like $200 to sponsor it or something like that, and they would raise all the money that way. We colored it in. I remember the annual Christmas party at the choir director's house. I remember the organist's daughter and the youth leader's son and the pastor's son all playing together in the summertime when we weren't in school. I also remember when my dad would come home tired, beat up from some counseling, worn out from a hospital visit or a funeral. I remember his heartbreak when the people of that church got hurt or passed away. And I remember his joy when he got to do weddings or baptisms or just celebrate with people. I swear, I don't know what your pastors do, but I swear he would do that thing where he presents the newest members of God's family when every time there was a baptism, and he would just carry the kid all the way down and all the way back just because he wanted to hold that baby longer. He loved celebrating with families. He loved well in Troy. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't know much about the Waterford years. By then, I was grown and out of the house. I was married and serving a church of my own. But even when we would visit, I'm sitting in a pew and trying to wrangle somewhere between 1 and 5 children, depending on which year we were here. I can't tell you what it felt like to be a member of this church, but I can tell you how he talks about you. I can tell you the pride in his voice when he speaks about the good things that this church has done. I can tell you the concern and the pain that went into some of the hard decisions, like the things around COVID and changing church policies in a modern world. The funerals performed, the weddings officiated. I know even on the hard days, he loved you guys a lot. Dad, I've never spoken at a retirement before, so I have no idea how to land this plane. So I'm just going to pretend it's like a wedding toast. I have no idea about your statistics. I can't keep up with your fancy degrees and all your titles. But none of that stuff was in Jesus' definition of a disciple anyways. I don't know how many baptisms. I don't know how many funerals or weddings. But I know you loved every single person. If we define success as loving well, you have succeeded. You are a gift to this denomination, a joy to your churches, and an inspiration to your children. It was never just a job for you. You just love people well all the time. And speaking of children, we are taking bets on how long you last in your new home before you figure out a way to get involved in the community, to find more people to love. Community theater, substitute teacher, pulpit supply, it's going to be something. You can't stop yourself from loving people, and I hope you never do. Because if success is loving well, this man succeeded. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah, for your thoughts and memories. Waterford Central is blessed with many creative, crafty people. One of them is Jeanette Dazelle. Another is Courtney Castile-John. Can you ladies please come forward? They've made some gifts for Pastor Jack. Courtney has made a memory box. Many of you have filled out the blue papers. This is what Courtney has made.
Still collecting it.
Okay, I'm just going to show them what you. Go
And
ahead.
if you haven't turned them in, you can still
You can still turn them in.
I'm fortunate to have joined the church while Pastor Jack is still here. I'm one of the newer members, but it doesn't mean that I love you any less. Just as the Bible has many books and chapters, so do our lives. Pastor Jack, you and your family have made a huge impact on our church family, and our spiritual lives in so many ways that we can't count. We thank you from our heart and soul for sharing this chapter of your book with us. If you have a day when you're missing us, as we're going to be missing you, even though you said we are going to stop. Let's see, missing you. We've created a memory box for you. Just reach inside and pull out a warm memory, a prayer, or a wish from us. We thank God for bringing you into our lives, and we also thank you for all of your hard work and dedication that you've given to all of us. As you said today, we love you, Pastor Jack.
At this time, I'd like to ask Pastor Jack to come and Ruth to come forward. We have a gift for each of them.
We also need to have the people who are helping with these particular gifts come forward.
A couple of months ago, I stood up here and talked to everybody about a gift for the two of these. But before that, before Jack's announcement of his retirement was made, I approached Ruth, and I said, Ruth, I don't want you to confirm or deny. I said, but I have a sneaky suspicion that Jack's going to be retiring before terribly long. And I said, there's a tradition of making a retiring pastor a quilt. So I was wondering if you had an idea of what color, blue? I didn't even get the word color out, and she said blue. She knew immediately what she wanted. So that was on my first thing. I started planning, and as an artist, you don't always end up where you begin, or at least where you think you're going to begin. So we have a couple of things. For Ruth, this is the top edge here. All right. Ruth, you said you like blue. You have blue. These are the perfect size to curl up on your patio, your deck up at the lake, to stay warm and stuff. There's a label on the back that says, Ruth Deborah Cooper Mannschreck. I got that from Jack. You have served our church well, and in appreciation of all of your work and the sacrifices that come with the title of pastor's wife, we honor you. With this quilt, you are wrapped in our warmth and love. Blessings to you for health, happiness, and peace. The members of Waterford Central United Methodist Church, June 14th, 2026. Now, I also collected memories and notations from everyone, signatures. And on Jack's quilt, it's a little more obvious. This one, it didn't quite mesh, so I came up with something different. And having read all of the messages that were left for you, it became apparent of a really overwhelming theme. So instead of being on a quilt, I made you an apron.
Turn it around so they can see over here.
With all different messages. So yes, quite popular for your baking, evidently. Yes, certainly is. Yes.
You had me at
You
cinnamon.
had us at
You had us at cinnamon, it says.
Yes. So, anyways, and in a great Methodist tradition, I have fabric that was purchased at the Birmingham United Methodist rummage sale. Yes. Big Methodist thing. So, anyways, and before I forget to make this announcement, I want to say thank you to Tina Graham and Vanessa Marks for helping me, and most impatiently for my husband for his patience, who's been rather ignored as of the last couple of months. Thanks, hon. And, okay, now for Jack. Over here, that top outside edge. Okay. All right. Maybe put it inside. That's okay. Anyways. All right, turn the sleeve. Turn, yeah, turn. Right to the front. No, the other. I knew this was going to be. There you go. There you go.
Okay, sideways.
Now, those blocks that are on there are several different ones. I went to a women's quilting retreat some years ago, and they had a special pattern thing, and it was the books of the Bible. So up there in the front left corner, the blue, that is Ruth, the book of Ruth block. And in the center is Jack. Since there is no book of Jack, that is the that is the wisdom block. And to the right of that is the Benjamin block. And the pinwheel down on the left side going down, that is the Jonathan block, or the book of John. And then Sarah is in the green there on the right side. Since there's not a book of Sarah, we took it from Genesis, and Genesis meaning fresh and new and green. We did that. And then the, okay, let's see what we got here.
That mic should be on. This mic's on.
No, that's okay. Right here, and this one down here is the Jeremiah's block. And I didn't realize it until after it was done that I used the same fabric in the background, this little footsteps in the sand, as I did in yours.
Huh?
He followed in your footsteps.
Oh,
So that was something.
very cool.
And then we have the carpenter's wheel. And down here at the bottom, there are 4 blue blocks, and a pink one for your grandchildren. And there's the Jacob's ladder and lots of bushes. And I'll read this back here. It said, in recognition and honor of 42 years of service in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, we, the members of Waterford Central United Methodist, wrap you in love with this quilt. May the good Lord bless you with a long and healthy life and memories that never fade. And I was told if you don't cry, I get to take it back.
You had the
I
extra
think
stars.
it's safe.
It's got the words to "We Are the Champions," well-known hymn by Freddie Mercury.
Thank you, Jeanette. Those are absolutely gorgeous. Pastor Jack has served 4 churches in his 42 years of ministry. His second appointment was at Oxford United Methodist Church. Here today to represent Oxford Church is Sue Rizzo.
And I get to follow the son and the pastor. Please be kind. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, for you are our rock and redeemer. From every sermon that I ever heard Jack say, it's ingrained in my head. Jack, Pastor Jack, PJ, all ways of addressing our honoree today, but we are blessed to call him good friend. I am Sue Rizzo from the Oxford United Methodist Church, as my husband Tony is also. He suggested that I speak today, so I'm here. Tony and I have been friends with Jack and Ruth for 34 years and have watched our families grow and expand and follow their own directions. The Mannschrecks have moved to different locations, but we've always managed to keep a wonderful relationship through it. 42 years of ministry that has encompassed Grosse Pointe, Oxford, Troy, and Waterford. All different venues with different strengths and weaknesses, but all with one accord, keeping faith alive in these communities. We were blessed in Oxford to have Jack during a time of family growth and exciting building opportunities. Jack helped initiate a Logos program, which Jeremiah mentioned, for Wednesday nights for all ages, including dinner, study, and musical practices happening accordingly. He also helped finalize and institute a new building addition, offering new offices and a new entrance and bell tower, which is the focal point of the Oxford community now. He was also an integral member of our Rotary group, which helped members of our community and beyond following our goals of serving all in need. We had fun, we studied, we didn't always agree, but we were patient for the outcome. We worked in the community, and we let Oxford know that we were there for all. This is a joyous day for Jack and Ruth as they begin the next chapter in their lives as servants of the Lord. I took a few quotes from Dietrich Bonhoeffer. In normal life, we hardly realize how much more we receive than we give, and life cannot be rich without such gratitude. It's so easy to overestimate the importance of our own achievements compared with what we owe to the help of others. Oxford received much from Jack Mannschreck. We pray for the big things and forget to give thanks for the ordinary, small, and yet really not small gifts. Thanks for our friendship. We must be ready to allow ourselves to be interrupted by God. Jack has been interrupted a few times. Godspeed on your new adventure, and always know that Oxford is with you. Thank you.
Sue, thank you so much for sharing your memories with us. Pastor Jack is well known throughout the community. He supports programs and groups of all types. Tuesday Musicale of Greater Pontiac meets here at Central and wanted to give Pastor Jack one more gift of music as he retires. You will hear from a bell group that is a combination of the Bellissima Bell Group from Tuesday Musicale and members of Central's Agape Bell Choir.
It's actually 3 bell groups that we have here. You know, Tuesday Musicale is proud to call Central our home and Jack to be our supporter and friend over all these years, not to mention our very favorite Santa. You've got to see him with candy canes. It's good. So we have members here from Central's Agape Bells, also from Bellissima, from Tuesday Musicale, and also from the Adele Thomas Ringers. So we've got 3 groups mixed together, and we're going to play for you.
Thank you very much for that very special collaboration. We now move to sharing for Pastor Jack's third church appointment. He was assigned to Big Beaver United Methodist Church. Myrna Rosier is going to share some memories of Pastor Jack's time there with us.
Pastor Jack, we are here today to acknowledge your years of faithful service, celebrate the lasting impact of your ministry, and to wish you a wonderful retirement. I was privileged to be a member at Big Beaver the entire 11 years that Pastor Jack served there. Now, before I dig into my comments, I want to make one thing clear, Pastor Jack. I'm here today to offer a toast, not a roast. So sit back and enjoy. It's all good. I am sure that most of you know the story about Pastor Jack. He was in college. I think he was going to go into the medical field, not sure. Yeah. And felt a calling to ministry. I always told Pastor Jack how thankful I was that he responded to that call, since he has gifts and abilities that are so suited for ministry. It seems just like it comes natural for him. So thank you, Pastor Jack, for that important decision that has impacted all of us here. I would like to weave some of these important gifts that I experienced in Pastor Jack with some memories of his time of being my spiritual leader. As I share my experiences, I hope it will spark some memories that you hold dear in your heart about Pastor Jack. I'll start with a gift of compassionate leadership. When Pastor Jack arrived at Big Beaver, we were in the process of raising funds for a new organ. It just seemed like we could not get enough inertia behind that effort. Well, Pastor Jack set a deadline, which I thought was pretty aggressive, to raise the funds and purchase the organ. And believe it or not, zip, zap, zoom, we had that organ in the time frame. Thank you, Pastor Jack. We love that organ. The gift of preaching. Pastor Jack has a way of delivering a meaningful and impactful sermon. I love the various sermon series, especially the one called Down on the Farm. I also found the message notes very helpful to reflect on during the week, and I see they're still going on. I know they took considerable time to create, so please know that they are appreciated. And it seems like Pastor Jack has a way of making holiday services special and meaningful. The gift of teaching. I found Pastor Jack to be an excellent teacher. He is a profound Bible scholar and shares his expertise. I was always impressed that he would set up many small group sessions during Lent and Advent to lead Bible studies. He wanted to see us learn and grow. And I'll bet few of us can top the amount of books that Pastor Jack reads in 1 year. The gift of discerning gifts of others. I am sure many of you were tapped on the shoulder to help with various ministries by Pastor Jack. But the thing that impressed me the most was that when Pastor Jack tapped you on the shoulder, his request actually met your skills and abilities. He gave thought to his requests. That was true for me. I was tapped on the shoulder to support the Stephen Ministry Program. I supported that program for 20 years and found it very rewarding, and it is still active today at Big Beaver. The gift of pastoral care. Pastor Jack takes caring for his parishioners and his community very seriously. In joy and in sorrow, he always makes time to give the necessary care. This takes much energy and requires being on call most of the time. And Pastor Jack was there when my family needed care. He officiated at my daughter's wedding, gave a blessing at my son's wedding, and when my mom passed away in another state at the onset of COVID, he officiated at our virtual memorial service so my family could have closure to this great loss. These are just a few of your many gifts, Pastor Jack. So for these and the other gifts not mentioned, thanks for sharing your heart, your time, and your wisdom with us on our spiritual journeys. It has been said that a good pastor is hard to find, difficult to let go of, and impossible to forget. Your acts of kindness will always remain in our hearts. You will not be forgotten. As we all know, ministry is a family affair. So I'd like to give a big shout out to Dr. Ruth and the Mannschreck children. Thank you for the sacrifices you have made so that many could be served. And we at Big Beaver fondly remember the Mannschreck children growing up. And now look, they're all adults. Pastor Jack, in closing, I would like to leave a blessing for you for your retirement journey. May God bless you with excellent health, and may you experience happiness, contentment, and joy in your retirement. Go in peace, knowing your work has made a lasting difference. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Myrna. The time has arrived for sharing memories from Pastor Jack's final church appointment, Waterford Central United Methodist Church. Pastor Jack has brought us many new things, some of them that Myrna touched on. The message notes, Wednesday night sermon discussions, and drive-through ashes. That was something that was very well taken. But he is a preacher, but he's also a teacher, and he uses sermon series to teach. Anybody have a guess on how many sermon series he's taught in the last 10 years? Any guesses? I have a list. Let's see if any of these sound familiar. We gather, Consecration 2025, the bread of life, pass me not, for the love of God, pray for change, the journey, Advent series. What's your story? Life-changing decisions. Words to the cross, doxology message series, travel light, the message of the Apostle Paul, the call to go out into the world. Advent pilgrimage. Attitude is your paintbrush. Understanding world religions. The prophets. Greatest gifts of Christmas. Down on the farm. 5 love languages. Conversations with an atheist. Christ challenged. Living God's wisdom, vision. Women of the Bible Part 1. Women of the Bible Part 2. Ever wonder why? Jesus and the prophets. I heart me. The 12, fruits of the Spirit, Jesus and the Psalms, you in X years. Learning to pray, our mission statement, God's generosity in ours, the true miracle of Christmas, missing peace, praying with Jesus, our United Methodist social principles, journey of generosity, Oz and the Yellow Brick Road, the Apostles' Creed, systems, sharing our stories, the gift of the Nutcracker, making change, through the dark wood, the redemption of Scrooge, Central's stained glass windows, Habakkuk, or Habakkuk, 5 practices of the fruitful congregation, momentum for life, adult confirmation 101. And on a personal note, I really wanted to say that I've enjoyed standing and serving next to Jack in bells, where we goof off trying to figure out what jingles and movie themes we can figure out with our bells. Up at in the choir loft on Sunday mornings, except for this morning, where we harmonize, tenor, bass. At VBS, where we get to play our alter egos. At Church Council, where we care for the church and its ministries. And at the Michigan Annual Conference, where we litigate, learn, and worship. And one more place now, next to him on the pontoon boat. So I just want to say it's been a real honor, and my friend, and I'm just happy that you are on your way to a new journey, and I hope you enjoy everything.
Thank you, Mike. I have just a few more memories to share with you from members of Central. I met Jack shortly after he arrived at Central UMC, almost 14 years ago. We had a short conversation as he was meeting everyone at his new church. The next time I spoke with him was in the narthex after Sunday service. With a big smile, he said, "Hello, Debbie Cooper." I was taken back. How on earth did he remember not only my first name, but also my last name after meeting so many of the congregation? I was impressed. A couple of weeks later, I saw Pastor Jack in the office, and I shared how impressed I was that he remembered my name after just one short meeting. He smiled and told me he remembered my name because his wife's middle name is Deborah, and her maiden name was Cooper. I told him that was cheating, and we both had a good laugh. Pastor Jack, you will be missed. God bless Debbie Cooper. When Jack first came to Central, I went by his office and it was piled high with cardboard boxes full of books. I offered to help him unpack and spent a few hours helping him. At one point I told him I was in a golf league and my golf partner was abandoning me to golf with her husband. Jack said he loved to golf, but never made it a priority. I asked him if he wanted to be my partner the next year. He said he would look into it. How long did we golf together, Jack? 9 years? You were the best partner ever. You were always positive, encouraging, no matter how frustrated I got. Jack used to go to the office and work first thing in the morning. It would be time to tee off, and Jack would be running down the sidewalk. Couldn't understand why the first couple of holes he struggled enough to relax. He struggled. He found out that he golfed much better if instead of going to the office, he got to the golf course early enough to relax. I felt so blessed to be able to share your friendship while we golfed. I hope you and Ruth enjoy your retirement. Take time to relax. Big hugs to both of you, Donna Bevington. Our grandson, Hayden Baxter, moved with his parents to Cedar Park, Texas in 2011 when he was 11. This was before Jack became our pastor. Hayden made several visits to Michigan and met Pastor Jack while attending worship with us. After high school in 2018, Hayden attended Colorado State University. In 2019, Jack and Ruth made a trip to Fort Collins to visit Ruth's parents. Before leaving, Jack asked me for Hayden's phone number so he could contact him. Not only did Jack call him, but he took him out to breakfast. This meant a lot not only to Hayden, but to us and his mom, Andrea. Thanks, Jack, for caring about a college student far from Michigan and far from home. Don and Diana Carter. Our final speaker this afternoon is Ruth Mannschreck, Pastor Jack's wife and partner in life and ministry.
Thank you all for coming. This is wonderful to see so many faces again that I've missed so terribly. I just wanted a quick moment to talk about the perspective of being a minister's wife. My childhood, my father was a pastor, so I spent my whole life watching my mother handle the job of being a minister's wife. And it was much different for that generation than it was for me. My mom was an elementary school teacher, and when we moved to one of the churches, who I will not name, they said, "Oh, that's very interesting, but we would like you to be the church organist, so you'll quit being a teacher and be our organist instead." And my mom politely said, "I don't think so, no." That's where I got my ability to say no from. And they said, "Okay, well, if you won't quit, then we're going to subtract your salary from your husband's salary." And at that point, my mom made more than my dad's pastoral salary, so my mom had to quit. Otherwise, we'd have no income from the church. Much different story moving forward. My life is not like that at all. But I have seen so many churches' response to the minister's wife in their parsonage. And I want to speak to all the churches that we've been in. You have had a wonderful perspective on how to handle the woman in the parsonage. It's been great. As all of you know, Jack and I are absolute opposites. We couldn't be more different, except for the things we love, our children, our music, our God, all those big things we love together. But Jack loves to talk, and I love to just sit in the back and play music. And you have allowed me, all our churches have allowed me to be the little introvert that I am and to contribute and make my mark in our churches just the way I wanted to do it. No pushback, a little squabbling, not much. But thank you so much. It made it so enjoyable to be a part of the congregations that we were assigned to. I have become a member of, very proudly, of all the churches that we have served. Thank you for allowing me to serve in my little world, and I love how you have supported my husband and let him play and enjoy and share God's love the way he sees it should be done, which is so much fun. Thank you so much, and I truly appreciate. So my big ask for you is that you have a marvelous woman coming to be your new pastor, and I ask that you give her the same charity and support and love that you've extended to us in our time here. It's been marvelous. Keep doing it. You're really, really good at supporting your pastor, and I ask that you keep doing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruth. We are so grateful for your time with us. Before our final piece of music is shared, Pastor Jack, would you like to come up and say a few words? Yeah, there's a 5-minute limit.
May the words of our mouth and no. I just wanted to tell you some things that I made notes while you were speaking. The two women, Kathy Scafuri and Joyce Merle, wonderful, beautiful musicians, both scared the tar out of me as your pastor. They both had cancer. They're cancer survivors. I couldn't, amen. Right? It means a lot. I celebrate that with you. Charlie, when you spoke, you didn't mention, hi, hon. You didn't mention you and Heidi were in our wedding, too. They stood up with us, which will be 40 years this summer. So, Heidi and Charlie, love you, love you, love you. Our son Jeremiah, he is a good preacher and he's a good guy. Where are you, Jeremiah? Maybe he's out. Anyway, he's getting donuts. Yeah, okay, so he's doing well. There he is. Yeah, he was ordained last weekend into the Wesleyan Church. So I got to go out there and be present to him. Sue Rizzo, as she mentioned, I remember celebrating your 20th anniversary, and they've been married 50 years this past year. And Myrna not only was gracious with us as a good friend, but she'd have overnights with our children at her house, and they'd go there and just have a good time, and just she is the hostess with the mostest, and Mike, we are buds. He's the only member of any of our churches that has been on the pontoon boat, so give me a call, guys, you know. We got that going on. We are moving up north. All of our friends who ever went south, all they do is complain about how hot it is, so why would we move south? And it's so beautiful up there, and we do love the seasons. We do love winter. We really do. And so we'll do that. To all of you, all the churches we've served, we have been so blessed by you, and can only hope that we return to part of that blessing back to you. And I think that's all I'll say, other than if we're here for the sermon, basically, you're my best friends. Love you. I'm sorry. You always forget the most important, right? No, I'm not. Ruth says, no, you're not. But my son already said it. It would not, none of this, these past 42 years would have been possible without Ruth as my wife. She, having been a PK, helped our children tremendously to navigate what it means to be the PK of the church, because when something goes wrong or something gets broken, the PKs did it, you know. We all know that, so, right? But she helped them navigate when sometimes some of those things happened, and it wasn't always true. But, honey, I love you, and I'm really excited about our future.
As we wish farewell, not goodbye, to Pastor Jack and Ruth, please enjoy this piece of music appropriately named Farewell. That was a beautiful way to say farewell. This is the end of the sharing of the ministry of Reverend Dr. Jack Mannschreck. We know that Pastor Jack will not be sitting quietly in a rocking chair or on a boat. He is already looking forward to new adventures. Thank you, Pastor Jack, for being a part of the lives that you have touched during your ministry.
As the choir comes forward to share a final blessing, we ask Pastor Jack and Ruth to join us for what I will not say final, but one more time. Come on up and sing.
We're all done now. Thank you.